over a terabyte of video that I have to like wade through soon, and we're looking to get a DVD out next year. But also, when we were in Liverpool, they recorded right off the audio desk to separated tracks, and so we can mix it and take it in the studio and have control of it. And we realized that we've got like a lot of a live album done there. So I definitely am hoping that once we're gonna get the new songs recorded too, and hopefully next year we'll see a DVD and a live album.
Sweet, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So when we go back to like creating and making an album, I was wondering, how do you choose it? Because I know you've got kind of like two sides to you. You've got like one part activist or one part rapper or amalgamation of the both. But I was wondering, which ones do you choose for which album? I mean, I know you probably don't want to preach at people for like a whole album, so
Yeah.
do you separate it for like most of the majority?
With the new album, I actually made a conscious decision to leave the very overtly political stuff off of it, because the thing that happens if you have like one or two political songs, I think if you have one political song on your album, you could have 18 tracks, but if you've got well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but like, man, I think if you've got more than like 15% politics on your album, they will call you a political rapper and just like put you in this box and like, oh, he's a political rapper. His immortal technique. He's, and not that that's the worst thing in the world you could ever be, but I never felt that was, what happened is I came out with this song, Film the Police, on House of Bees 2, and it kind of blew up and went crazy. And so a lot of people came to know me for that first, and they were like, oh, he's a political rapper. If for people that are familiar with my catalog, like that's not like a tenth of what I do really. So I didn't want to give reviewers and critics the easy out. He's a political rapper, and then like their review is written for them. So I didn't want to give them that. So I consciously made sure that I left that. I put that stuff on the mixtape, House of Bees 3. And I did try and think a little bigger and a little more like universal with the songs on the record. But yeah, every record has its own project or like assignment that you give yourself, concept, or or sometimes it's just a collection of songs that fit together. Sometimes I just make songs and then in retrospect be like, oh, okay, that goes with these and this goes with these.
Kind of fits with what you're trying to say in the whole album kind of scenario. So which one would you say was your... Well, actually, no, I want to speak about... when people were like, I heard you say political rap, and I was like, I don't understand. When did it stop becoming like rap being about what you're seeing? And because like I remember NWA, was it called like reality rap or something?
Yeah,
and it was like they're just rapping about what they see. It's nothing political. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So like I don't see the difference between what they did and now what you're doing. Why is it? I was just like, what? Why is now giving you our time for being political? It's just what you're seeing.
Yeah, man, and personal is political. Like if you really understand these things. There's not really any separation. Like the more you look into it, like what is personal? Is sex personal? Is there no politics involved in sex? Like of course there is. Even there's politics and involved in interpersonal relationships between husbands and wives. And
yeah.
That stuff is everywhere. I was just talking to a friend, and she's single, and she's talking about like why she can't meet dudes, and we were just kind of laughing. She was like, man, she's like, dudes are so mediocre. Like like women have such low bars. Like we just want somebody that's clean and like respectful. If you're clean and respectful, you're better than like 80% of the guys that I'm encountering. I was just laughing about that. I was like, that's crazy. And I was like, you know what that is, man? I was like, that is patriarchy. That because like that is privilege breeding and celebrating mediocrity. Like if a dude can attain mediocrity, he's incredible. And so like, and there's so many mediocre dudes that really believe they're incredible. That are just doing the bare minimum. And so that's politics, right? In your like dating life, like the men you encounter around the world. So like all these things mingle completely. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just it's for lazy reviewers. They just develop these categories: emo rap, indie rap, political rap, whatever box they put us in this year.
Yeah, yeah. I completely disagree with all these boxes. I get confused. I'm like, what's going
Yeah,
on now?
yeah.
All right, let's just talk about your activism side. How do you choose which issue to focus on when you do your rapping or your activism? Do you just the one most popular at the time, or the one that's most closest to your heart, or something?
I'd say closest to my heart. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not able to. I know some. There's a rapper Jasiri X that does a really incredible job of like he is like on top of the most current. Like he can make a rap song about the thing that is a headline today, and he can have the rap song out tomorrow. And it's not garbage. Like he's very much like a pure like rap as journalism kind of artist, which is great. And he's on Film the Police. I've worked with that dude, and I respect that dude. But for me, it's a bit more like I need to like have the personal fire attached to it, which often would come from me just learning about things or thinking about things. The most recent political song we released, I guess, is probably "The Devil Is Alive" on House of Bees 3, which talks about the rapper Rick Ross, and the identity he stole from the real gangster Freeway Ricky Ross, who was part of the Iran Contra scandal in which the CIA under Reagan funneled crack and cocaine into American ghettos as well as weapons. Like they were selling like rocket launchers to Crips,
Whoa,
and
some GTA stuff right there.
yeah. And that's the story of the real Ricky Ross. But now you have this rapper just masquerading as that identity. So things like that, like as I started to think about that idea, it started to really like, wow, this is so crazy. This is a rapper that was releasing rap songs. But other times I would talk with activists or friends who I work with and support. And for example, Madge Vonner in Boston was talking to me about Cop Watch years ago, and that's how Film the Police came about. So it's all
Yeah,
but yeah, there is a personal connection with the political stuff I write.
good. I was hoping that was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
So when we talk about personal and political, I've realised you got a website called No More Or.
NoMore.org.
Yeah. So do you want to? Because when I heard about this, a light bulb went in my head. I was like, hey, I've been thinking about this like in my own head, like when I go clothes shopping and stuff. I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? Who's gaining from this? So did you want to
Yeah.
explain more
Yeah,
about the
this is
website?
is something we created in 2005, so many years ago, and a lot of the crowdsourcing and some of the technologies on the web that are around right now weren't around then, and to this day, it's still the largest database of its kind. What it was created for was, yeah, we realized that like I read the book Fast Food Nation, and I was amazed to find out about all the stuff that goes into a McDonald's Happy Meal, in terms of workers' rights violations and environmental impact, and advertising to children is a big part of the history of McDonald's. They pioneered a lot of that stuff, and so that's just to understand all those social issues that are wrapped up in a Happy Meal, and that every time as a consumer you purchase one, you're kind of sending a message to this corporation saying like, I approve of whatever you did to get this to me at this price. Keep doing that. And
Yeah.
if that means taking advantage of undocumented workers and putting them in potentially deadly situations, if that means factory farms and all the environmental impact in addition to animal cruelty that comes with that. So I was thinking about that and thinking like, wow, if that's what goes into a Happy Meal, how much more goes into my clothes on my car or the gas that I put in my car? There's an incredible amount of information out there that working class people don't have time to put together. And I was wishing there was a site like No More, and because there wasn't, we created it to be a site where you could go and enter the name of any brand, product, or company and get taken to a web page that would rate that company for workers' rights, human rights, environmental concerns, political influence, which candidates they donate to, or whether they donate money to politics. And yeah, I mean it's like an ongoing project, and it needs updating. And we're actually about to announce a Kickstarter later in the year, or an Indiegogo or whatever the hell. Crowdfunding wasn't around back in the day. But there's great possibilities. It could be brought now to mobile devices, because in 2005 when we created it, there was no such thing as a smartphone.
Yeah.
But now you could be in the grocery store and scan the barcode of what you're thinking of buying, and immediately right there in the store see the readout of what you're, who this is coming from. So yeah, No More is an ongoing project.
That's cool, man. I really dig that completely. When I found out you was doing that, I was just like, God, does this guy get any cooler? He's just a hero. So then let's talk about people being taken advantage of and stuff. And I was wondering, does it frustrate you when you just hear people just saying stuff that they don't know much about? For example, we've got this whole refugee thing happening over on this side of the Atlantic, and I'm just hearing so many people just chat so much, and I'm just like, dude, these people's lives, give them a break, you know what I mean? But
yeah, it's really interesting in the UK. I mean, we have a similar thing in the US. In the US, Donald Trump is running, he's running ahead of the Republican primary, mostly on a lot of xenophobia, and Mexican immigrants is the fear that's being stoked there. And the thing is, it's all totally baseless. It's so crazy. My wife and I last week before the tour started, we went to Paris, and we were kind of hanging out there, and it was her first time in a country where most people didn't speak her language.
Ooh,
and
okay.
she was just amazing. It was just kind of impacting her. Like, wow, this is really difficult to order off a menu or get directions to where I need to go, or if I ever got sick here. And we were just thinking about immigrants and thinking about what that really is to be in a strange country where everything comes with this. You don't know how anything works, and it's all foreign to you, and yet you have to kind of make your life work. And what a vulnerable position that is to be in. On top, and this xenophobia, this racism, this anti-immigrant stuff in the UK and the US is more absurd. Not only is it just cruel and kind of small-minded and mean-spirited, it's also factually, logically incorrect. Immigrants don't steal your jobs. They create more jobs. They bring more money into your economy. My country is entirely based on immigrants. Everybody's an immigrant except for Native Americans in my country. And yet you still have these white rednecks who think that the biggest threat to America is, homeless, migrant workers who come here to try and escape poverty or drug war or and make a life for themselves, which is exactly what really, if we're honest, any of us would do. If any of us were in these emergency situations, of course you would take your family and you would try and get them to safety, because that's basic human stuff. And it's just so ugly and so ignorant. Yeah. And so there's nothing to it. It's just gross privileged behavior.
It's just when I try and talk and discuss it with people, it's just I'm always hitting a wall. It's just they can't see anything other than what their mind is portrayed in their head, and they're not even shifting from that.
Yeah.
It's often something I argue over at work or with friends. I'm just stop being like that, man. Just.
Man, I've got a new policy, which is when I'm talking to a racist white person, I have to weigh how many hours I have in that day versus how many years they have left on the planet. If I'm talking to a racist white teenager, I'll stop what I'm doing and I got to spend the day with you, man, because you're doing totally out. But if I'm talking to a racist old man or woman, I'm just gonna let you just die soon. I'm just gonna hope that you die. I don't have time, man. I'm gonna save my time for the racist teenagers and just racist old white people. You all just get diabetes and die. That's my solution to that.
They got no hope left. It's hopeless people. All
Get
right.
blocked on Facebook. Quick.
I heard again that I heard that on another interview, you and Sage Francis have like used to have like